Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here and welcome to BBallBreakdown. If you haven't already, please give us a vote so we can continue to shoot up the top of the list to get eligible for the basketball tournament. You'll get a front row seat to me coaching a team of pros while we compete for the $2 million prize. Now let's talk about a very popular subject this last week, the Russell Westbrook versus Steph Curry discussion. I've spent a lot of time going through Steph's defense on Russ just to make it clear that however you want to look at it, Russ is certainly not destroying Curry's defense. But I decided to flip this and look at what Westbrook has been doing on the defensive end. And when you isolate all the made field goals by the Warriors and study what Russ was doing on them, you'll find that on no less than 14 of the 36 made, he had a direct hand with poor defensive play. In a game that goes down to the wire, where one play could affect the outcome, 14 mistakes is almost hard to believe. Let's see how. Early in the game, we see a simple ball screen for Curry with Adams. We know this is the only instance where the Thunder won't switch, yet this is not the kind of effort required to defend Steph Curry. He dodges a bullet now, but we'll see what happens later when you give Curry enough wide open looks. We all know that Russ is probably the fastest human in the NBA, yet watch his effort midway through the first quarter in getting back on defense after a bad miss by KD. He's barely walking, and he disappears at 6:18 on the clock and never even makes it back on the screen. Here we see the automatic switch on the handoff, and Russ does a good job to stay with Iguodala as he cuts through the lane. But now he's the lone man on the weak side, responsible to rotate over to help. Remember, Russ is probably the quickest player in the league too, yet he doesn't even take a step in that direction, and Klay is able to use his body to get this layup. Russ takes a bad shot with lots of time on the clock, is the first guy back, yet goes for the steal in the backcourt and ends up walking back down court when he could have been sprinting to stop this shot. On this KD miss, watch Russ hang his head as he plans to walk back down court again. And when he doesn't get this loose ball, he just starts to jog. Adams is pointing out the open man in the corner. Foy has got to go to Curry on this one, and Russ has no idea it was his job to sprint as fast as he could to contest this shot. Here's another example of Russ getting in bad position after the shot, then not hustling back. We last see him on screen at 8:15, and he never reappears after 6 seconds. Remember, the Thunder have a standing order to switch every screen. Here, Russ gets caught totally out of position, but had a chance to recover until he foolishly reaches for the ball like this, giving Iguodala the layup. Another poor transition possession for him. It's still in the first half, so he can't point to fatigue. He just jogs back and doesn't recognize he could have been the guy to sprint back hard to get in this play and help stop a wide open three. Russ did a nice job getting around the Varejao screen and trying to stay in the play. But watch what happens once Curry gets on the weak side. I like the hustle to get over there, but then he completely loses sight of his man. And while he's lucky they went to the other side of the court, his team wasn't so lucky with this nice Barnes finish and won. We got a few more Klay Curry splits off the low post, and again, Russ knows this is a switch, but gets a step behind and then doesn't challenge the shot. You've got to at least try. Motion weak into pick and roll. It's Adams, so there's no switch, but Russ takes a poor angle that gets him behind Curry. He's not using his incredible speed to close the gap, and Curry has an easy sight for the lob. On this quick drag screen to rescreen, the first switch is okay, but he relaxes, steps backwards as the rescreen is coming, and is nowhere in position, giving up this wide open Steph Curry three. This was a real doozy. Coming off the pin down, this gamble wasn't even close as Curry turns the corner and gets the layup. Can you hear me shaking my head? There's no fault by Russ on this rebound. Bogut is 8 inches taller than him, but he doesn't recognize that in this scenario, Bogut is now his man. He's just standing there while Klay comes around for the handoff and lights up another uncontested three. Another ball screen with Adams' man, and he gets crossed by Steph, blown right by, and it forces the rotation to enable a wide open corner three for Barnes. So this shot by Klay isn't bad defense by Russ, but it's all the other bad possessions that get Klay comfortable that then enables him to make the tough ones like this. And finally, on another ball screen with Adams' man, this is not a switch. We all know this, yet Russ first shows like he wants to go under the screen, then ends up too far away from him while Curry knocks a crucial 3 down, getting them back in the game. So there you have it, sports fans. If Russ doesn't make 2 of these plays, the Thunder would have been in a much better position to be preparing for Cleveland right now. At the very least, we need to see him sprint back down on defense much more consistently, and I think before he laughs at another player's defense in the future, if in fact that's what he was laughing at, he might want to look at his own defense first and how it can improve dramatically, or else it will be the Warriors who will be busy game planning for the Cleveland Cavaliers.